Welcome to Last Free Nation Gaming, a new channel on the Last Free Nation network focused on general gaming. We're kicking off our channel with a preview from our crew's experience in the closed beta with Wildgate, a new 4-player co-op PvE and mostly PvP experience that has been developed by Moonshot Games.
Moving us closer.
It's not Star Wars, Doa, where, you know, a ship at lightspeed just destroys everything.
Shut up.
We had a lot of fun with this game. If you are a fan of 4-player co-op experiences, either the PvE variety like Deeprock Galactic or Left 4 Dead or Helldivers 2, or if you're a fan of Sea of Thieves, which has some PvP elements involved, I think this game will be right up your alley.
Ascending and reversing, hold on ascending, so just flatten out there. Okay. Keep reversing, they're at 2. They're at 1. Yeah, baby.
Wildgate has been made by Moonshot Games, most notably helmed by Dustin Browder, he of Terrible, Terrible Damage and Destructible Rocks fame. He was one of the lead developers on StarCraft 2 and Heroes of the Storm, before leaving to found his own studio under publisher DreamHaven, which is run by Mike and Amy Morheim, also formerly of Blizzard.
Coming down too.
There's a hard point on the outside in the back.
I don't have the bomb anymore.
Oh. Kill Dustin.
I got 2 of them.
This new game is a very focused PvP experience that adds a new dimension to 4-player co-op. There are 20 players, 5 crews of 4 on different ships in every server, and there are only PvP win conditions. You either must destroy all of the other ships, or you must recover a PvE artifact and then escape through the titular Wildgate in order to secure your victory.
I can't go any faster, I've got no boosts. I can't boost. I think that engine is done.
That was fun though. You start your ship with only basic equipment, and so it is necessary to complete PvE in order to upgrade your ship so that you have the best possible chance of defeating other players or making a run for it with the artifact. Now, if you and your friends typically like playing only co-op modes and PvE on games like the aforementioned Deeprock Galactic, Helldivers, Left 4 Dead, these type of titles, and you don't want PvP, well, I'm afraid Wildgate probably isn't the experience for you.
Laser ram is off.
Alright, we stopped the self-destruct. We have like no HP left.
I got him off the ship. A game of Wildgate starts with a randomized map. Now, these maps have different elements that can be placed into them, such as deadly space storms, more or fewer asteroids, different levels of resources for you to collect within the game in order to make each experience a unique one. The game starts typically with PvE looting. You spawn in away from the other 4 ships that are in your instance, and you are typically placed directly in front of a location, a space station, an alien colony that will give you a minor amount of loot. From there, you will use probes to start exploring outside of your ship and plotting a course to other PvE environments where you will continue to acquire loot and possibly run into other ships. Now, this all culminates in a PvP frenzy towards the end of the game, because you must destroy all of the other ships and be the last one standing or escape with the artifact. And the artifact itself is a PvE mission. You must find it first on the map and then go through about 10 minutes of PvE with your crew in order to secure it, and then take it physically into your ship and then try and escape. Furthermore, the Wildgate takes time to open. It isn't open immediately at the start of the game. It can open in different amounts of time depending on the map. Sometimes there is a sped up version of the Wildgate that will open faster. And this is represented by the percentage marker on the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You need to keep an eye on this because getting the artifact too early will just make you a sitting duck, as your ship will be flagged for everyone else in your instance to chase down and eliminate prior to the gate opening and your ability to escape.
Yeah, the artifact is moving on that ship. Good to go right now. It's going in.
Yeah.
It's over. Can't stop that. I had to stop to heal the ship. Oh no, someone's taken it off. It's flying away. Someone grab gunned it.
There is an incredible depth of skill expression available, and once you spawn in, everything is a level playing ground. The ships all have the same weapons. You can choose between several different ships that have different speeds, different amounts of HP, and different configurations as you and your crew select, but every player, in theory, once they unlock these ships through experience in the game, should have access to the same starting resources. This means that it really does come down to teamwork with you and your crew and individual ability that will decide your fate in the coming combat ahead.
Right. This is just not working anymore.
What
I
are
just
you
can't get
saying
through
is not working? I don't understand what you're saying.
Oxygen.
Yes,
Please
this
stay
is how I
balanced.
felt. I just.
There's also a wealth of different options available to you. Not only are there a variety of different characters in the game, each with different passives. Now, should be noted that the characters do not have active abilities as it stands right now because there are a variety of different guns and item loadouts that fill this capacity instead. As such, there are characters that excel at repairing the ship when it gets damaged or putting out fires. There are characters that excel at fighting on board your ship and get additional bonuses in order to repel boarders. And then there are characters that themselves are boarders who can fly faster through space, and some of which are even stealthed when either on their ship or your ship, and they're designed to cause chaos once they get aboard after flying through the vacuum of space and entering your ship surreptitiously.
This is so lame. He has a shield in the back, Monty. Find a shield.
Yeah, I know where he is.
Dangers of the reach.
Raising
What can you
shields.
do about that?
In addition to the different characters, there are also a variety of different guns that you can unlock, anything from equivalents to shotguns, sniper rifles, typical assault rifles, healing beams, and some other interesting options, so you really do get to customize your individual player performance. And that way you can really build a kit between the character, guns, and items that will feel personal and really have your signature on your gameplay.
Adversaries?
Oh, all right. So he's hiding up with a shotgun right as we spawn in.
I know.
At the top, yeah.
We as a crew played the closed beta invite-only experience, and this game is still in development, and I think that a lot of what we talk about here probably will be refined in some way prior to release. I should note that this game is still very, very fun, and I would be happy to continue playing it in its current state. I just think there are certain things that could be made just a little bit better. First off, ship combat feels great, and that really should be the core of this game, because the ways you win are either through destroying other people's ships or by escaping through the Wildgate, which often involves some level of combat even if no other ships are destroyed, because you are fleeing from typically 1 to 4 angry pursuers.
Oh, never mind. One's back on our ship again. Oh, we're dead. All right. Well, people on the ship. That's a
Like,
problem.
We should have won that. It has a slower pace, so it will remind you of ship-to-ship combat in Sea of Thieves, although this, of course, takes place in 3 dimensions instead. But because combat takes a long time with these ships, it really does feel like the more skilled crew will win out in the end. The guns also obviously play a large part in this, but because there's so many different kinds of guns on these ships, there's the equivalent of long-range sniper cannons, the equivalent of shotguns that deal volley damage up close. There are guns that will shoot bombs at the enemy ship that attach to the hull, and the enemy crew has to get out and try and disable them before they explode. You'll see a variety of different options in terms of ships, ship weapons that you'll pick up on your journeys and on your PvE experiences at the start of the game. So because you will be reacting to the guns that you get, a good crew will be able to alter their play and really maximize the potential of those weapons. Now, one thing about ship combat that I think does need to be fixed is that right now it is very difficult to tell where you are in space because you're operating in 3 dimensions. This means that sometimes it can be difficult to see or understand where objects are around you, which prevents a lot of the fancy flying in and around asteroids, because if there's an object below and out of your sight, you wouldn't see this. Not only is this unsatisfying to play, but it's also unrealistic of the setting because a pilot would need tools in order to perform in this way. And I think some sort of heads-up display, like a hologram that shows you objects immediately around your ship so you can squeeze through tight spaces very effectively without dealing damage to your ship, would be very, very helpful. It would also be nice to know whether you're covered by an asteroid from line of sight for another ship, so you can effectively park and then disembark a boarding party to steal objects from their ship or to cripple their ship. These are all things that I think really would up the level of gameplay and the creativity and skill that players could express, but right now it's kind of difficult to tell where your ship is in regards to all of the objects around it. Whereas being in a sci-fi setting, you expect to have a few more tools available to you. Somebody stole our laser ram. I don't see it on the front anymore.
How's that possible?
That's crazy. How the hell did that happen?
I shut the top door when I went out.
One of the things that needs the most work right now in Wildgate is boarding other ships. And boarding ships is a very fun part of this game because you can be horribly disruptive. You can get in, you can kill their pilot, you can get on their helm and lower their shields, you can set their core to auto-destruct. There's so many different things you can do when you board, but it is kind of the core gameplay as far as we could tell among more experienced players right now.
Stir Wonder is about to die. I'm gonna pivot to shooting figure 8.
How's this angle? Is this okay?
Good, that's good.
Should I descend?
Now, part of this comes from the fact that characters can actually be faster than the spaceships themselves. So when you're out on a spacewalk, especially if you are playing characters that get speed bonuses in space, it is pretty easy for you to outrun many of the ships and therefore ensure boarding is successful, which makes it pretty unsatisfying. There's also a massive balance problem as it stands right now with a character that our crew referred to as the Shotgun Owl.
Owls with shotguns. Look, they're all owls with shotguns, basically. Oh, so someone's on our ship. Oh, I'm getting shot again. All right. There's another owl on our ship.
5. We're gonna hit the edge.
I'm dead.
Getting us out. He's on pilot. He's on pilot.
Oh, I see him. Let's get us away, but... Oh, never mind. What's back on our ship again? Map, though. Oh my gosh. Oh, someone's on our
looking
ship, by the
for
way.
where the door.
So,
Well, it's been fun.
There's a character called Moffs who is a boarding specialist within the game, and this character looks like an owl who has insect wings. And not only is he permanently invisible on both his ship and your ship, his model is about half the height of the other character models in the game, so he's extremely hard to shoot, even though he does have slightly reduced HP compared to other characters.
The owl shotgun is back.
Laser ram is off.
Sure. Guard again. I think our ship's gonna...
dude, the owl is super broken, man.
This owl, combined with the overtuned shotgun that is in the game right now, that can one-shot virtually any character, including characters that are designed to repel boarders and have higher HP as a result, makes it very difficult once one of these gets on your ship to get the owl off your ship, and the entire combat sequence turns into one shotgun owl invisible on your ship, making you completely unable to engage in ship-to-ship combat, while the owl's allies, the 3 of the other players on the other ship, are constantly shooting you down, and it's almost impossible to regain control of your ship in a meaningful way and have a fun space combat.
I wonder if he knows the hatred that is being targeted at him.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
The other aspect of combat that can be frustrating in Wildgate at the moment is that third partying is very, very strong. If there are 2 ships engaged in battle, by the time you arrive on the scene, you will be able to typically immediately kill the winner of that fight, or watch at a distance, wait for someone to emerge with 50% HP on their ship, and then easily take them out and win the third-party conflict. However, this third partying is really enabled by the fact that there needs to be more intense fog of war on the map. Oftentimes, you will be able to see ship movements from almost the entire map away, and this is also enabled by probes that you are sending out. But in my mind, The fog of war should be very dense within this game, whether they add through nebulas or additional storms or whatever have you. And probes should be able to see the other ships, but as soon as the probe is destroyed or the player exits the probe, at that point in time, the enemy ship should just drop off of your map and drop off of your radar, so you have to find them again. This would give ships time to destroy probes that are zipping around them. It would make probes a real threat and something that needs to be destroyed, as well as give you time to react when somebody knows your location or if you are in combat. When we played, a lot of games were just won by whoever was waiting the longest to fight.
Oh, we're getting cut through that with the sword.
Oh, we're getting laser rammed hard, yeah.
And that gets into win conditions with this game. We talked about the artifact being able to take it and make the run for the Wildgate. However, in our experience, that maybe happened in 20% or fewer of the games that we actually played. And this is because PvP was just a much easier and common way to win. However, I think ideally this game gets to a state where you have almost maybe a 50-50 artifact versus total annihilation method of winning this game. And that may be 60-40 in favor of being last man standing versus taking the artifact, because the artifact is a more difficult way to win because you're kind of a sitting duck while you are engaging in this lengthy PvE experience to gain access to the artifact and to take it off of whatever space station it happens to be on at the time. But I think you need to have a good mix of win conditions so it doesn't feel like every single time the most likely way to win is simply by killing people. Part of this might be the Wildgate on average has to open faster, so it makes more of a dash to the artifact, but some adjustments need to be made so that it feels like each win condition is equally viable, because right now the artifact win condition does seem secondary to destroying everyone else's ship in your given server.
We're gonna go down. We're going down.
Now, Wildgate games typically last around 30 to 35 minutes on average. Obviously, this could be less time if you're destroyed early, or it could be a little bit more time if you have a particularly long game that is unfolding. But it feels very satisfying, and like a Battle Royale game, as soon as you're eliminated, you can just go ahead and crew up. There are methods in this game for crewing up with other random people. So you don't necessarily have to have a crew of 4 that is pre-made and coming into the server. I think a lot of the satisfaction of that experience will depend on how many people have open voice comms, because voice comms are obviously extremely important. And if you have fewer than 4 people that you want to do a pre-made with, just know that you will be at a significant disadvantage, as even having 3 people on a ship makes playing the game, because it is a PvP experience, a lot harder. It's not like Sea of Thieves where you can kind of go in with 2, 3, or 4 people, and if you have fewer people, engage mostly in PvE and have that experience, because you can only do PvE if you want to in Sea of Thieves if you're good at dodging enemy ships that are coming after you. There isn't, it appears, any kind of pay to win with Wildgate. You have to gain experience to unlock the full suite of characters, optional ships, items, guns, and then you start to unlock, different colors for the guns, different skins for the characters, et cetera, as you might expect. So there isn't going to be a pay-to-win system here. Once you have access to the complete suite of ships, characters, gear, and guns, you will be on the same level playing field as everybody else within the server. And if you don't have all the ships, your party leader, at least in the beta, was the one who would select the ship. So as long as they have it unlocked, all of the players will then spawn onto that ship. Overall, fantastic experience. If you have a more competitive mindset, I would highly recommend checking Wildgate out when it's released. If you have friends who are highly competitive and who want to scratch that itch, perhaps you guys play as the very aggressive pirates in Sea of Thieves and you're loving that, Wildgate is definitely the game for you. I know I'm going to be going back and playing it with some of our other LFN creators once we get into other additional rounds of the beta, and if you have a chance to get into the beta, I'd take it. So definitely very polished, beautiful looking game right now that is extremely fun to play, and with a few of the gameplay tweaks I mentioned, I think this one could be a home run. So thank you very much to Moonshot and Wildgate. We had a blast.
There's a fuel cell in this room. Yep, there you go.
We really need to like make sure we're closing the security doors when we're going out. People are still not closing the doors.
Yeah. Close the doors.
Like I said, if you walk through the door and spam F right on the other side of it, you'll be able to close it without turning around.
Who's responsible for not closing the door? I think it's Wolf.
It was a side door.
It
I'm
might be-
just gonna blame
I got
Wolf as well.
bones.
The edit will
I, mean,
tell.
I don't
the
think it
truth.
matters right now that much. Find a fuel cell plug-in generator.
There's the fuel cell
generators.
thing.
And spam F